IAS Prelims Exam 2018 General Studies Question Paper Analysis. Going by the analysis of the IAS Prelims 2018 General Studies paper, this year too, UPSC has justified its unofficial title of being Unpredictable Public Service Commission. The questions did not follow any set pattern, which made the civil services aspirants conclude that change is the only constant in the pattern of the IAS Prelims exam. As per the Jagran Josh expert analysis, the UPSC Civil Services 2018 Prelims GS Paper 1 was relatively tougher because of the UPSC Prelims consists of two papers, namely the General Studies Paper 1 and the General Studies Paper 2, commonly known as CSAT. In this video, we will analyze the GS Prelims Paper 1. This analysis will focus on the subject-wise analysis and the difficulty level of the questions asked in the GS Paper 1 of the UPSC Civil Services Examination 2018. Let us first see the subject-wise analysis. From the topic of current affairs, we had 26 questions. From the topic of history of India plus Indian national movement, we had 15. From the topic of art and culture, there were 4 questions, while from Indian economy and Indian polity, there were 15 each. From Indian geography, there were 7, while from science and technology, we had 13 questions. From the topic of environment and ecology, there were 5 questions, making it a total of 100 questions. Now let's take a closer look. From the topic of current affairs, there were 26 questions. These questions were overlapping with other subjects, while they were of relatively easy level of difficulty. Current affairs played a decisive role in the IAS Prelims Exam 2018. The number of direct and indirect questions on the current affairs is around 26. For example, solar power production, NSSO, NSG, page, etc. Indian polity. The number of questions from this topic were 15. The ratio of difficult questions was high. Applied questions. Around 15 questions were asked from Indian polity, but some of the questions were blended with current affairs, law and Indian economy. Out of 15, 7 questions were of a high difficulty level. For example, questions related to liberty and law, rule of law, Indian economy. The number of questions from this topic were 15. The Indian banking system, opportunity cost. This year, the focus areas were schemes and programs related to the Indian government, banking and social sector like BHIM, Aadhaar, NPCI, economic development, merchant discount rate and definition of legal tender, etc. Also, a question related to opportunity cost was a surprise because business students are more likely to be familiar with it. Geography and environment. Number of questions from this topic were 12. Questions were of medium difficulty level. Questions asked were mainly based on maps, location-wise geography and places which were currently in news, etc. From environment, questions asked were related to wildlife sanctuaries, existing conventions on the environment, agreements related to environment, NGT, etc. Questions on international organizations such as IAEA, NSG, ASEAN, etc. were also asked. History and art and culture. Number of questions from this topic were 19. In this section, questions asked were from following sections. For example, questions on Champaran, Hind Mazdoor Sabha required the candidates to have simply read the study material. However, a question related to the foreign traveller Jean-Baptiste Tavernier would be considered difficulty by many, as one would not expect an IAS aspirant to research on each traveller. Science and technology. Number of questions were 13 from this topic. Comprehension-based questions. Some questions were based on new technologies which were in news, such as blockchain technology, Bheem app, Aadhaar technology, etc. Having done a subject-wise analysis, now let's look at the difficulty level of the questions asked in the UPSC Civil Services Examination 2018, GS Paper 1. The difficulty level of the questions can be determined as follows. Easy 15 questions, medium 51 questions and there were 34 difficult level questions. Easy questions, Pakhui Wildlife Sanctuary, Terminal High Altitude Area Defense. The easy questions were direct in nature and were common in their orientation. For example, the questions were asked about Pakhui Wildlife Sanctuary Bani Thani, terminal high altitude area defence, Champaran movement, residuary powers under the Government of India 1935 Act, etc. The medium difficulty level questions were indirect in nature, but had asked obvious things. That is why they are classified as the medium difficult questions. Some of the difficult questions asked for foreign travellers: merchant discount rate, equalization tax, dried up lakes, rule of law, and liberty and law. The difficult questions were indirect and applied in nature. For example, the questions related to the foreign travellers, merchant discount rate, equalization tax, dried up lakes, rule of law, liberty and law, etc. All in all, the Civil Services Prelims GS Paper 1 proved to be a mixed bag of easy, medium and difficult questions that intended to test the analytical thinking skills of the civil services aspirants. Therefore, if you were also a civil services aspirant, it would be good to take cues from this analysis and keep yourself prepared for the Civil Services Prelims 2019. If you found this analysis useful, stay tuned to jagranjosh.com for more such informative videos on the civil services exam.